So I decided to do a bit of research into both of the candidates, and what I found out about Hillary Clinton is ludicrous. And since most people don't have the time or interest to go digging around the internet for information, I'm bringing you 10 crazy facts that Hillary Clinton doesn't want you to know. Number 10. Hillary Clinton once worked as a defense lawyer and got a pedophile off. So back in 1975, Hillary Clinton worked as a defense lawyer, and the facts of this case are pretty iffy, but most people believe that Hillary Clinton was appointed to be the defendant of a 42-year-old man who was accused of raping a 12-year-old girl. She ended up getting the man off by having him plead to lesser charges and by asserting that the girl made up the rape story because she was emotionally unstable and had a tendency to seek out older men and engage in fantasizing about them. Now 52, the woman has done only 2 interviews on the topic since the rape occurred in 1975. She says that Clinton intentionally lied about her in court documents and went to extraordinary lengths to discredit evidence of the rape and later callously acknowledged and laughed about her defendant's guilt in recordings. So here is a piece of the 1980s interview with Hillary Clinton when Bill was governor of Arkansas that was unpublished but has recently been obtained and released by the Washington Free Beacon.
Of course, he claimed that he did all this stuff. He took a lie detector test. I had to take a polygraph, which he passed, which forever destroyed my faith in polygraphs. Yes, I could see a slight trace, but it wouldn't be enough to test. If I went back and told Maylin Gibson that I had, well, I probably can't remember his name, but I cut out who's who, and I'd done all this stuff, and I handed it to Maylin Gibson. I said, well, this guy's ready to come from New York to prevent this miscarriage of justice.
So I'm not going to show you the whole interview, but later on in the audio recording, Clinton explains how the investigators had cut out and lost a section of the suspect's underwear that they say contained the victim's blood. Clinton took this remaining underwear segment to a Nobel Prize-winning blood expert in New York, where his expert testimony gave much more weight to her case. The main assailant spent less than a year in jail, and the second attacker wasn't even charged. Before the attack, the girl was a virgin. Afterwards, she spent 5 days in a coma, months recovering from the beating that came after the rape, and over 10 years in therapy. The doctor had even told her she would probably never have children.
You lied on me. I just realized the truth of it hard back in '06 after I got out of prison. I just studied a little bit. I realized the truth now, hard of what you done to me. I said, man, you're supposed to be it for women? Do you call that for women? What you done to me? And I heard you on tape laughing.
And even though some people will say that Hillary Clinton was just doing her job, what does this whole ordeal say about her character? She got off 2 guys who raped and beat a 12-year-old girl by lying in court documents and slandering the child, saying that she was emotionally unstable and fantasized about older men. And on top of all that, she chuckled about it in a later interview. Number 9. Hillary Clinton is a terrible human being, according to the Secret Service. As reported by a Secret Service agent, one day he saw Hillary Clinton step out into the hallway, so he said pretty normally, "Good morning, ma'am." And you might think that she would say hello or good morning or something like that, but no, she says, "Fuck off." And this wouldn't even be that big of a deal if it was a one-time thing or she was just having a really horrible day. But by all accounts, this is just normal Hillary Clinton when the cameras are turned off. Ronald Kessler's book, First Family Detail, shares the going-ons of America's presidents and their families through the eyes and ears of active and retired Secret Service agents. Kessler exposed Hillary, saying that when in public, Hillary smiles and acts graciously, but as soon as the cameras are gone, her angry personality, nastiness, and imperiousness becomes evident. Secret Service agents consider being assigned to her detail a form of punishment, Kessler concludes. In fact, agents say being on Hillary Clinton's detail is the worst duty assignment in the Secret Service. While running for the U.S. Senate, Hillary stopped at an upstate New York club. As one Secret Service agent said, Hillary saw farmers and cows and then erupted. She turned to a staffer and said, "What the fuck do we come here for? There's no money here." And Kessler isn't the only one who has written about Hillary's total lack of character. Gary Byrne, a retired Secret Service agent, confirmed Kessler's statement that being assigned to Hillary was the worst job possible, by saying that being assigned to her detail was a form of punishment handed down by passive-aggressive middle management. Byrne also said, "Most of us knew to brace for her inevitable eruptions. They didn't happen every day, But behind closed doors, we learned about them fast. In public, she was everyone's best friend. Privately, she was her normal self. Number 8. Criminalizing the poor. To get a better understanding of what Hillary Clinton really stands for and the kind of policy she will enact if elected president, you have to look at the presidency of Bill Clinton. She was right by his side the entire time and campaigned for many of his policies. Her views on these topics haven't changed much since then. Hillary's just gotten better at lying to garner public support.
But we also have to have an organized effort against gangs, just as in a previous generation we had an organized effort against the mob. We need to take these people on. They are often connected to big drug cartels. They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel. And the president has asked the FBI to launch a very concerted effort against gangs everywhere.
Really? No conscience? No empathy? She's talking about herself. In 1994, Bill Clinton signed the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act, which was the single largest crime bill in history. Hillary was right next to him, promoting the bill as the best way to clean up the streets and bring the super predators to heel. It allocated $10 billion for prison construction, expanded the death penalty, and eliminated federal funding for inmate education. This single-handedly ushered in the new era of mass incarceration for non-violent offenses such as marijuana possession. And I know if Hillary was in office, she would have done the exact same thing. Not helping her case at all, Hillary Clinton has been linked to the private for-profit prison industry for years and only recently cut ties because of public outrage. Number 7. Bill and Hillary destroyed welfare. In addition to the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act, the Clintons also passed the 1996 Welfare Reform Bill, which turned the program into an exclusive and unequal cash disbursement system that has had terrible, long-lasting consequences. Bernie Sanders even spoke of this, saying that he didn't vote for the bill, but Hillary was one of its biggest proponents, going around helping to round up support for Bill. In this graph, you can see the effects of the Welfare Reform Bill on extreme poverty rates, which is classified as living on $2 a day or less. The increase is a staggering 130% since 1996, and the number of people who received welfare dropped from 12.3 million in 1996 to 4.4 million recipients in June 2011. And only 1.1 million of those beneficiaries are adults, meaning that children who were living in extreme poverty were the most affected by this bill. Number 6. The repeal of Glass-Steagall and Wall Street. Remember the Great Recession of 2008? It can be argued that the repeal of Glass-Steagall by Bill Clinton directly caused this phenomenon. It allowed banks to engage in previously forbidden commercial activities, such as investment banking. By bringing banking and investing together, the demand for high returns caused companies to take on big risk-taking, which led to the housing collapse. The repeal also paved the way for banking companies to get even bigger, and many people now believe banks are too big to fail. And sadly, some of Hillary Clinton's best friends are members of Wall Street. All throughout her political career, Hillary has given hundreds of speeches to banking and investing firms, and they have already invested millions in her campaign. Just going through Hillary Clinton's biggest contributors on Open Secrets, it is obvious Hillary Clinton will help the very bankers who caused the 2008 recession. Citigroup donated a total of $927,700 to her campaign. JP Morgan Chase & Company gave $888,850, Goldman Sachs $867,828, Morgan Stanley $844,649, and Bank of America $413,436. And these numbers don't account for the millions of dollars that big banking and investing firms had given Hillary Clinton all throughout her career. Number 5. Henry Kissinger is her mentor. Henry Kissinger was a former National Security Advisor and Secretary of State during the late 60s and 70s. In 2014, Clinton reviewed Kissinger's New World Order book and called him a friend whose counsel she has relied on. Friend is a bit of an understatement. The two regularly take winter holidays together with his wife Nancy in the Dominican Republic. The two are very, very good friends and share many of the same ideologies and practices. Greg Grandin, a history professor at New York University, summed up Henry Kissinger quite nicely. Kissinger prolonged the Vietnam War for 5 pointless years illegally bombed Cambodia and Laos, goaded Nixon to wiretap staffers and journalists, bore responsibility for 3 genocides in Cambodia, East Timor, and Bangladesh, urged Nixon to go after Daniel Ellsberg for having released the Pentagon Papers, which set off a chain of events that brought down the Nixon White House, pumped up Pakistan's ISI and encouraged it to use political Islam to destabilize Afghanistan, began the U.S. arms for petrodollars dependency with Saudi Arabia and pre-revolutionary Iran, accelerated needless civil wars in southern Africa that, in the name of supporting white supremacy, left millions dead, supported coups and death squads throughout Latin America, and ingratiated himself within the first-generation neocons, such as Dick Cheney and Paul Wolfowitz, who would take American militarism to its next calamitous level. And if that wasn't enough, here are some terrible quotes by Henry Kissinger that were recently released by WikiLeaks. The immigration of Jews from the Soviet Union is not an objective of American foreign policy, and if they put Jews into gas chambers in the Soviet Union, it is not an American concern, maybe a humanitarian concern. How many people did Khmer Rouge Foreign Minister Lang Seri kill? Tens of thousands? You should tell the Cambodians, i.e. the Khmer Rouge, that we will be friends with them. They are murderous thugs, but we won't let that stand in the way. We are prepared to improve relations with them. Tell them the latter part, but don't tell them what I said before. It is an act of insanity and national humiliation to have a law prohibiting the president from ordering assassination. I don't see why we need to stand by and watch a country go communist due to the irresponsibility of its people. The issues are much too important for the Chilean voters to be left to decide for themselves. The illegal we do immediately. The unconstitutional takes a little longer. And Hillary even admits that she takes advice from that fucking guy. Unbelievable. Number 4. Dirty arms dealings. So in 2011, the State Department led by Hillary Clinton cleared an enormous arms deal of $29 billion from Boeing to Saudi Arabia. This deal went through despite the fact that Saudi Arabia had so many human rights violations. And in the years before Hillary Clinton had become Secretary of State, Saudi Arabia contributed $10 million to the Clinton Foundation. And just 2 months before the deal was made final, Boeing donated $900,000 to the Clinton Foundation. The deal with Saudi Arabia is just one example of many where nations and companies that had donated to the Clinton Foundation saw an increase in arms deals while Hillary Clinton oversaw the State Department. Between 2010 and 2012, the state approved $165 billion in commercial arms sales to 20 nations. All of them had donated to the foundation, plus another $151 billion of Pentagon-brokered arms deals to 16 of those countries. This whole thing was a 143% increase over the same time frame under the Bush administration. Number 3. Bill and Hillary Clinton have made over $153 million from giving speeches. In total, the two gave 729 speeches from February 2001 until May 2015, receiving an average payday of $210,795 for each address. Bill and Hillary also reported at least $7.7 million for at least 39 speeches to big banks, including Goldman Sachs and UBS. And like I said earlier, Hillary Clinton is not going to waste her time giving speeches to farmers with no money to give her. The only reason that she's going to give these speeches to big banks and big pharma and stuff like that is it's a way for companies to hand money to her under the table in return for favors when she gets into office. Number 2. Hillary's dirty dealings in Haiti. Right now, 3/4 of Haitians live on a salary of less than $2 a day. Documents released by WikiLeaks in 2011 showed that the U.S. Embassy and Hillary Clinton actively colluded with factory owners contracted by Levi's, Hanes, and Fruit of the Loom to block a minimum wage increase from 24 cents to 61 cents. And it didn't end there. Hillary Clinton also got her younger brother, Tony Rodham, a gold mining permit in Haiti. Tony Rodham serves on the board of VCS Mining along with former Haitian Prime Minister Jean-Max Bellerive. The company was among only one of 2 companies to receive the permit, and it was the first time this happened in over 50 years. And the sketchy thing about this whole situation was that the mining permit came right after Bill Clinton went down to Haiti to provide post-earthquake relief work through the Clinton Foundation. Along with him was the former Prime Minister, who was also on the board of VCS Mining. He co-chaired the relief event with Bill Clinton. Number 1. Media bias. So you may already know this, but 6 companies control 90% of what we read, watch, and listen to. This is down from 50 since 1983, and Bill Clinton's Telecommunications Act of 1996 played a big role in the consolidation of the media sector. Here are the 6 companies: GE, News Corp, Disney, Viacom, Time Warner, and CBS. When you start to look into the money funneling from these media corporations to Hillary, the massive conflict of interests and biases is crystal clear. GE donated somewhere in the range of $1 million to $5 million. News Corp donated $500,000 to $1 million. Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, donated $400,000 to Hillary Clinton. Time Warner is also one of her biggest donors. They gave her $673,000. Viacom and CBS both donated money to Hillary's campaign as well. And it doesn't stop there. Carlos Slim, the largest New York Times shareholder, donated over $1 million to Hillary, as did Thomson Reuters, the owners of Reuters news service. And Google donated close to $1 million to a campaign. And the list goes on, but I think you get the point. This is the reason why you won't see many of the facts I talked about in this video on mainstream news. 100% there are people behind the scenes telling their workers what's okay to say and what's not, depending on their interests. Okay guys, thanks for watching the video. If you could please leave a like and share the video on Facebook or Reddit or something, that would be awesome, because I spent such a long time making the video, but I also had a lot of fun. I learned a lot of new things and it was super interesting, so I hope you enjoyed it. And I will be putting out my predictions for Season 7 of Game of Thrones within the next 3 days, so watch out for that.